Hey Mick, it was worth it, man. What's up guys, Chris here from Vo-Gus Prospecting. If you're new to the channel, a big warm welcome, and if you're an old moldy hat like this one, welcome back baby. Today I am out high banking in a deposit that's already yielded me over an ounce of fine flour gold with the occasional picker to keep me interested, with the intention of doing a bulk sample from deep within the bank to see just how wide this deposit really is. Because if we know that there's gold where my high banker is, what we really want to know is there gold up here? Because if there is, this deposit's going to get a hell of a lot bigger real quick. This is something I could never do with the Gold Wrap Mini High Banker because of that electric bilge pump down there. I just don't have enough hose, I don't have enough draw and enough power to get the water from there to up over there, which is where we want to be testing. And before anyone mentions it, digging in the banks in Victoria currently is legal. I've left a link in the description to the law that outlines it. I've made one really interesting change to my setup, which is minus moss. You might have seen in some past episodes that I was using carpet. Well, carpet is incredibly difficult to clean out. Minus moss is far easier, and it actually offers a much better capture rate. So while I wait for Mick to arrive in the next couple of hours, I'm just going to run some dirt through the gold rat and hopefully collect up some more of that beautiful powdered gold. I know some of you guys are going to be questioning why I'm running dry material. First thing I have to say is try not to run dry material. The gold won't be liberated from the soil and it will float down your sluice. To rectify that, I've just dug a little pit down here below the water table, and I'm going to knock that dry stuff down into this water, and that way it'll at least get a little bit of a pre-soak before it goes down the sluice, so we'll alleviate some of those losses. We have actually got a little bit of gold in the mat. We've got a little piece just there, and we've actually got several little pieces scattered throughout all of this matting here. The miner's moss seems to be doing a quite good job. We've got a lot of ironstone and black sand accumulating in it already, and these riffles seem to be staying relatively clear. Now we've only run about 25 shovels from this hole, so what we're going to do is clean this miner's moss out just to see how we're going and what we're getting. This will give us sort of a baseline for the area that we know has gold before we push further into the bank to see what is actually back there. This is the gold we got for those 25 shovels just out of the miner's moss. Now it is super fine stuff, and I know that might not look like a ton of gold right now, but this gold is so fine that most of it will be getting caught in the dream matting in this sluice box, and then the very fine stuff that overshoots this will be getting caught in that front box. So I'll guarantee you that we've probably got 3 times that amount of gold hiding in those 2 mats. Now there's no guarantee that when Mick gets here and we have that sand running that there's going to be any gold in it. We don't know, it's an experiment. So it's good to be getting a little gold in the morning before that happens. So while I've still got your attention, I want to give you a pro tip, a tip that's helped me immensely, and I guarantee you that if you start practicing this and using it on the creek, you're going to find more and more gold, as well as places to hunt for coins and stuff metal detecting. I want to talk about the human eye and intuition. The human eye sees about 2% of the overall sight picture that you see at any given time clearly. What that means is, if you hold your fist out in front of you clenched at arm's length, that is about as much as you see in 100% sharp focus at any given time compared to everything else around it. Now 2% is a very tiny percentage of your sight picture. It's tiny, and the human eye is actually developed to move continuously. You physically cannot see if your eyeball isn't moving. They found this out by doing experiments in the 70s where they paralyzed people's eyeballs but kept them awake. Very creepy stuff. Now what that means is that the more you try and focus in on something, the less you see clearly around it. Furthermore, if you try and hold your eyeballs still, which is physically impossible, your vision will actually start to blur. You won't see even that 2% very clearly at all. Now couple this with something else that I've been telling you guys ever since I started this channel, which is do not be afraid to test everywhere. Don't just stick to the norms of where gold ends up. The more tests that you do, the bigger the picture in your head you get of the creek, the more information you're armed with, so the next time you step onto that creek or another creek, you're going to have an idea of where you might want to be looking. Now here's the thing, when you focus on something like walking onto a creek and trying to look for the spot, you're only looking at 2% of your overall vision. What you should be doing is taking a break like I am now and just let your eyes wander over the entire area that you're sitting in, and your eyes will naturally land on places of interest. This is actually a survival mechanism because our brains are designed to recognize patterns and familiarity so we don't get eaten by things like tigers and monkeys. So if you go to the same creek all the time, you're going to see less and less and less of it because your brain is literally not letting you see it. It's just glossing over everything that's in front of you and only focusing on the things that you're staring hard for. By sitting back and letting your eyes wander over the creek, your eyes will naturally settle on points of interest that are developed by you doing your test pans. The more test pans you've done, the more knowledge bank you have, and the more your brain has to look for when you let your eyes wander around. A lot of people call this intuition, but it's actually a natural function of your brain. Fishermen do it finding good spots. Police officers have it when they get a sixth sense that something bad's about to happen. You walk out into a creek, sit back, enjoy the scenery, have a bit of a look around, and then just let your brain do the rest, and you'll honestly find more spots. I'd run perhaps another 20 or so shovels, and you can see the gold is remaining much the same, which is fine by me. Because we actually took it out of that hole, not from the bank. We dug right down deep into it, and we're in the false bedrock at the moment, so the chances are that if there are any big bits, they're going to be down in that stuff. Not really what we're here for today. We're here for the powder. That's what we've set up for. Grizzly's best friend in the whole wide world just rocked up. Zachy! Along with Mick, and it's got so hot I've had to put my Russian headdress on. This is the gold I got just out of the dream mat at the top. Not bad going. We honestly ran maybe about 70 shovels all in. Now there is going to be a lot more gold stuck in this. It's going to be that super fine stuff. However, I'm actually going to leave this mat as is and wash that out at home with my cleanup sluice at a later date. Because there's going to be way too much ironstone and black sand in this mat to clean out on the creek when I could be high banking. There's two reasons why we wanted this up here. The first reason is this, a petrol pump that allows us to draw water from way off over there in the creek, which means that we can get processing power up high onto this bench. And the second thing is the higher flow of water, which means that we can process more dirt, and that's exactly what we need when we're digging in a spot that has much overburden. The reason we chose this spot is because this just here is flood debris, and it's in behind a big tree here and a little tree here. We've got a large accumulation of sand from the floods that happened 12 months ago in December, and we're starting to see things like this, which is deposited bedrock and river gravels. Now these indicate to us that the water was obviously flowing over the top of this, but there's likely to be multiple layers of this stuff as we go down, and if any of those layers shifted a large amount of gold from a deposit further upstream, then we could be sitting on a deposit that is not only extremely long but extremely wide. Currently that edge is going 1 gram a meter almost every single meter. So if it's the same back here, we're on literally ounces and ounces of gold so long as we can process. So without further ado, we're going to turn the bad boy on and we're going to start shoveling some sand. We got our first little run done. As you can see, nothing spectacular hiding in any of the mat. And that's primarily because we were working this sandy stuff up the top here. However, as we punch deeper into our hole, we've come across lots and lots of river gravel, which is a really, really good thing. Because what we didn't want to see was just tons and tons of sandy dirt for ages. So we're already on a wash layout, not even a foot down. Right, back to work. We've stopped for a bit of a break and a clean out. We've done maybe 1/4 of a meter's worth of soil and we're just washing out the bottom dream mat sluice. Now this gold, if it is here, is going to be very fine. So we're more expecting to find gold in this bottom sluice, and we're probably honestly blowing a lot out. But again, it's a test so we can see. This is the concentrates that we got from that bottom sluice. So wash that out and find out if there is any gold in it. What I don't have with me today is my macro lens, and you're going to need it because that up there is gold. It is ultra fine stuff, ultra fine stuff. If that is the size of gold that we're dealing with now, it's likely that we're going to need a different setup to catch it. We're going to need something like the Dream Mat 888 cells to run in a big high banker to be able to capture that absolute powder. So let's clean that top section out, see what we get. Oh, there's gold in that dirt. Oh, there's gold in that dirt. Hey Mick, it was worth it, man.
Yes.
That's the gold that we got for that test run. Now remember, most of that was sand, and that was a quick run. We maybe did 30 minutes worth of total digging for that result. And again, it is super fine gold, super fine, which means that the setup that we're running is probably not ideal for this kind of gold. We're going to be getting a lot of float away, which is why I said to wet the soil, because that type of gold will literally just float on the surface section and straight out your sluice. It'll never even see the mat if it's not wet. So what does that mean overall? Well, it's quite simple. It means that not only do we have a deposit that's like 100 meters long, it's at least 5 meters deep. So we have like 500 plus cubic meters of soil. Yeah, I guess we're going to have to get some bigger sluices.
30 or 40 shovels, I didn't count them.
30 or 40 shovels Steve did. Ooh, they're chunkier than what we got.
Nuts.
Look at that. They're nice.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
They're chuglets, Steve. Chuglets. This was just a test day, so I'm stoked about that. We're going to come back here with the right equipment and the right setup and get right stuck into it. So we're going to take all this gold home, weigh it up, and see how much we got for our little bit of an experiment. So there's a problem. I was getting the gold ready to weigh up to show you guys how much we pulled out on that day. However, this is not that gold. This is from a video you haven't seen yet. So I went looking for other gold things that I got laying around from other videos. But this isn't it either. This is from a panning session earlier in the year. And that's certainly not it. That is a complete other video that I've still yet to publish. And that's like my most recent video that isn't even clean yet. I mean, there's gold in it, but not the gold we want. Which means, inevitably, it's actually accidentally become part of a long-term project I've been working on that's going to be published once I get some of these videos sorted. So I can't show you the gold, which is incredibly disappointing because this is meant to be like a professional outfit, but clearly it's not. I can tell you that from looking at my photos on my phone and whatnot, that we probably netted in and around half a gram of flour gold from that upper bench, and I probably pulled about a quarter gram from my morning session. So in total, we got just under a gram for the day's work. It was hitting 40 degrees Celsius that day, so we packed it in quite early, and we actually only got about half an hour to 45 minutes worth of large high banking done before we had to go. But the thing, as always, is I don't do this for the money. I do it for the enjoyment and the mateship that I get to have out in the creek. Hanging out with Mick, seeing the dogs play, hanging out with Steve, seeing him get 40 shovels and get more goldy, pickery type bits than we did is awesome fun. And finding the gold's a big kid's treasure hunt. I'm a big kid and I like treasure hunts. If you haven't already, please jump over and check out my streaming channel 89X Gaming. That's where you get to chat live one-on-one with me while I play video games and generally make a fool of myself, or you can even jump in the lobbies and play with me. Beyond that, I'm also collaborating with another YouTube prospector from Walkabout Prospecting, Ori. He's helping me manage that Facebook page and he's doing an absolute killer job. His YouTube channel is centered on gold prospecting in Australia and it is killer. It is really good. I want to invest as much as I can into his channel because I think in the future we're all going to benefit from his knowledge and his smarts, because that dude is wicked sharp. So please jump over and check out Ori's channel, Walkabout Prospecting. It's linked above and below, so you can't not find it. So until next time, friends, I hope you did enjoy the video. Hit that like, share and subscribe button. Helps me grow the channel bigger and better for you fellas and ladies. Give your dog a pat for me. Peace, and I am out. Woo.